ध्यान सत्यामा। The place you are in and the space you are in "4.5 years is really too long." You can understand by the laughter of the people. They are in the same boat. If you meditate, sex is going to drop by itself. Sex is part of your unconsciousness. And it is a blissful experience if the sex drops by itself. If you force it to drop, it never drops. On the contrary, it becomes perverted. It starts finding ways from the back door. Unless it drops by itself, it never drops. Meditation is the secret-most method of going beyond the body and all that the body contains. Sex is part of your body, your biology. It is not part of your consciousness. The moment you start rising up in your consciousness, sex is left far behind. Naturally, at the age of 31, one starts wondering that something seems to have gone wrong. Nothing have gone wrong. Everything has gone right. You should feel blessed that you are free from the greatest imprisonment of your being. Adam and Eve were standing underneath the tree of knowledge, looking at the apple in Eve's hand. Eve turned to Adam and said, "After we have eaten the apple, we are going to do what?" Naturally, the poor woman was not yet aware about what. And they had eaten only one apple. It seems you have been eating too many apples. Then one becomes squeaky. Little Ernie's mother was worried about his progress at school, so she took him to see the psychiatrist. The shrink decided to give him an aptitude test and asked the nurse to put a hammer, a wrench, and a screwdriver on the table. If he grabs the hammer, said the shrink, he will be a carpenter. If he grabs the wrench, he will be a mechanic. If he grabs the screwdriver, he will be an electrician. Ernie fooled them all. He grabbed the nurse. It does not matter what is your age. Sex has nothing to do with age. It can disappear at any moment, or it may not disappear even when your one leg is in the grave. It all depends whether your life is just a horizontal phenomenon or something vertical also. And that verticalness can happen any moment. Particularly for those who are in meditation, you can start moving differently than any other animal is capable of, except few men. It is unfortunate that I have to say, except few men. Intrinsically, every man is capable to go beyond sex. But people think sex is life. And the moment sex disappears, they think now there is no point in going on living. Sex was their meaning, their very salt. These are the poorest people in the world, who has not known anything beyond the lowest They have never raised their eyes towards the stars. A man has reached old age when he can't take yes for an answer. So it doesn't matter. At the age of 31, you have become a wise old man. And the beauty of a wise old man is tremendously valuable in comparison to the foolishness of all those who are just young. The young people are bound to fool around. It is rare at this age to be capable to get out of this stupidity that we call youth. Dhyan Satyama. You are exactly what I would like every sannyasin to be. This place is a place for transformation. And the only energy you have got to be transformed is sex. Sex is your basic life force. If you transform it into higher forms, it is going to disappear from its lower manifestations. But you are not going to miss anything. On each higher stage, the energy will give you more and more blissfulness. The higher it rises, it becomes a tidal wave of blissfulness. You start feeling orgasmic in your every fiber of being. Sexual orgasm seems to be a far-away echo, almost as if you have seen it in a dream. Just a faint memory. Because now what you are experiencing is so authentic and so real, so solid, you will not need a companion, because that too is one of the basic dependencies. And that's why all couples are in constant fight. The reason is nobody wants to be dependent on anyone. It takes away your dignity, your individuality, your freedom. It makes you, in a subtle sense, a slave. And the man who loves a woman will hate the woman, because that woman has become a necessity. And one hates to be dependent on anyone. And the same is the case for the woman. Every woman hates the husband, has to hate him, because she has become dependent on him for momentary pleasures which don't last long. A meditator finally turns into a space where he does not need anyone to give him pleasure. He is full of blissfulness, overflowing. He can share, he can fill the whole world with his blissfulness. His very being has become orgasmic. Now that is something tremendously significant to be remembered. You are both man and woman together, because you are born of a father and a mother. Half of your being has been contributed by your father and the other half by your mother. Naturally, you cannot be just man or just woman. It is a fallacy perpetuated for centuries that man is man and woman is woman. It is absolutely wrong. Every man has his woman within him, and every woman has her man within her. Only the meditator comes to know his whole being, and suddenly his inner woman and the inner man melt and merge into each other. That creates an orgasmic state in him. Now it is no more a momentary experience that comes and goes. It is something like heartbeat or breathing that continues day out, day in. Every moment he is in an orgasmic stage. Naturally, sex disappears. A greater experience has come in. The sun has risen. What is the use of having a candle unnecessarily burn itself? You are bound to blow it off. In the sun, if somebody keeps his candle burning, it only shows one thing, that man is blind. A meditator comes to know such a vast experience of joy that all other pleasures simply fade away. You are asking, can it be true that sex is already over? Yes. It is true. And you need not repent for it. Don't look back, look ahead. Something greater is going to open in your being. Something like a lotus, which will give you absolute fulfillment and contentment and freedom, independence, individuality. For the first time you will feel you are able to fly alone into the vast sky of existence. Your need for the other has disappeared. That is what sex is, the need for the other. And in this state of orgasmic experience within yourself, without the help of anyone else, you become capable of sharing your love, not bargaining, not even hoping something in return, In other words, this is what I was just talking about, friendliness. Friendliness towards the whole existence. Nothing is greater, more glorious, nothing is more of a splendor and a miracle. You are saying, Satyama, I have been your sannyasin for 4.5 years, and my body is 31 years of age. The body can be of any age. There are two things which are not necessarily of the same age as the body. The lowest of these two is well understood by the psychoanalysts. The higher is still beyond them. The psychology is still struggling to stand up. It is crawling on the ground at the lowest level of human energies. Hence, about the lower, it has found few fundamental truths. One is the mental age. A man may be 70 years old, yet his mental age may be only 14, or vice versa. In cases like Mozart, when he was only 4 years of age, he was capable to play on musical instruments like a great master. At the age of 5, he was already becoming famous. Even great masters of music could not believe the phenomenal energy of Mozart. At the age of 5, he was almost mentally as much mature as very few people become mature at the age of 70. Psychology has accepted that body and mind don't grow together. Sometimes the mind, most of the time, is lagging behind and the body goes on growing. Few of the times, in rare cases, the mind grows ahead and the body lags behind. When a great creative and sensitive man, Emerson, was asked about his age, he said 360 years. The people who were present could not believe. They could not believe that Emerson, a man of truth, a very innocent man, a man loved and respected by all those who could understand the heights of consciousness, why he should lie such a thing? 360 years. He does not look more than 60 years. What to make of it? Finally, one man asked that perhaps I could not hear rightly what you said. Will you please repeat? Emerson laughed and said, why you are going in a roundabout way? Why don't you ask directly that you cannot believe that my age is 360 years? Then another man said, no, we have to ask you. You look only 60 years of age at the most. You will have to give us evidence that you are 360 years of age, and a man of your integrity is expected not to lie. Emerson said, I am not lying. I have lived in 60 years so much that you will be able to live only if you live 360 years. According to my intensity of life and totality of life, I have lived in 60 years as much as an ordinary man will live in 360 years. I am not lying. It all depends how you live. Meditation changes your life pattern completely. This has still to be recognized by the psychology. But the psychology of the enlightened ones knows it perfectly well, that consciousness can go on growing. It need not grow simultaneously with the body. Adi Sankara, the founder of a systematic philosophical system for the Hindus, died at the age 33. He became enlightened somewhere at the age of 7. When he was of the age 7, his father has died. He was a poor father's son, a poor Brahmin. The mother was only living for him, the only son. At the age of 7, Adi Sankara asked his mother that he wants to renounce the world. Can you conceive a child of 7 years old thinking of renouncing the world? Must be a Mozart again, a Mozart of spirituality. The mother said, your father has died and you want to renounce the world. Don't you think of me? Adi Sankara said, I can only promise you one thing, that before you die, I will be present. So in your last moments, you can die peacefully. But right now, allow me to renounce the world. I want to become a sannyasin and go into search. The mother refused. Not to hurt her, Sankara remained for a few days more, and one day he went to the river. He used to go for his everyday bath, but that day he insisted his mother also to come with him. The mother was a little concerned why he is so insistent, but when he became absolutely adamant that if you don't come, I will not go for the bath, then I cannot worship, and then I cannot eat either. So the mother has to go. And mother was standing on the river bank, and a little child, 7 years old, was caught by a crocodile. A crowd gathered, but there was nothing that can be done. Both the feet of the boy was inside the mouth of the crocodile. And Sankara shouted to the mother, now there are only two possibilities. Either you give me the permission to renounce the world and become a sannyasin, or the crocodile is going to eat me. It is up to you to decide, be quick. It is a strange story, how the crocodile conspired in this. And the mother, of course, immediately shouted, I allow you, you can become a sannyasin. Even this much will be a solace to me that you are still alive. And the story says the crocodile immediately left him and disappeared. Must have been a very saintly crocodile. But whatever the case, perhaps it is only a parable. But one thing is certain, that Adi Sankara at the age of 7 must have made her mother convinced that either she has to allow him to be a sannyasin or she has to be ready for his death. How he managed it, that is a different matter. But one thing is certain, he gave the clear-cut choice, either death or sannyas. Obviously, the poor mother had no choice. She allowed him. At the age of 7, Adi Sankara became a sannyasin. In the whole history of the world, there is no other case parallel to the Sankara. And somewhere between 7 and 11, there is no historical record of it, but it seems just between 7 and 11, he must have become enlightened. Because at the age of 11 he started writing his great commentaries on the Upanishads. And on one of the greatest and most complicated scripture that exists in India, Badarayana's Brahma Sutras. At the age of 11, it is almost impossible even to understand it. And Sankara wrote the greatest commentary. It has defeated all the great commentators of the past and all the great commentators that came after Sankara. Nobody has been able to go beyond the flights of consciousness and bringing tremendous meaning to the almost dead scripture of Badarayana, Brahma Sutras. It is possible only after enlightenment, the way he interprets each small word, the way he gives a turn to its meaning. Something which was looking very ordinary immediately becomes extraordinary. He has the touch that transforms everything into gold. And by the time he was 33, he has written all the great commentaries of all the great scriptures, and he has traveled all over the country and defeated all so-called great philosophers, theologians, priests. At the age of 33 he died. Consciousness is not limited to your physical age. Consciousness can go far ahead of you, your body. So don't be worried, Satyama. You are saying, I never planned to drop sex, but now it feels like it has dropped me. That's the right way. You should never drop sex with conscious effort, because that is only repression. You should not pay any attention towards sex. Your whole focus should be towards meditation. And one day, sex is going to drop just like an old leaf dropping from the tree, not making even any noise, silently falling into the earth and disappearing. I have given you the name Satyama. I would like to explain to you that name belongs to an ancient seeker. He was also in the same category as Adi Sankara. When he was just 9 years old, he asked his mother that I would like to go to a forest monastery and to learn all about myself before it is too late. The mother said, my son, you are creating a difficulty for me. But if you have decided, then I will not stand in your way. Just one thing you have to remember, in that forest monastery, the first question will be asked, what is the name of your father? And I don't know the name of your father. When young, I used to serve, being poor, in many houses. And I have been sexually abused by so many rich people. I was so poor, I could not fight back. Neither anybody was ready to believe me. Those people were powerful. And my whole concern was you. And I don't know who was your father out of so many people who have made forced love to me against my will. So when in the university it is asked to you, you have to say the simple truth that your name is Satyakam. And your mother's name is Jabali. As far as your father is concerned, your mother has said that while young, she has been abused, exploited by so many rich people. So she does not know who is exactly your father. So please call me not by my father's name, call me by my mother's name. My name is Satyakam, my mother's name is Jabali. You can call me Satyakam Jabal. He went to the forest university, and the first thing the Kulpati of the university, the head of the university, asked him was, what is your caste? He said, I don't know. Who is your father? He said, I don't know. I had asked my mother, this is the story she has told me. You can call me Satyakam Jabal. The old man could not believe that a mother can be so truthful to say to her own son, and the son also can be so truthful to repeat it to a stranger without feeling any guilt or any humiliation, with utter dignity, with absolute acceptance, whatever is the case is the case. The old man must have been a man of immense understanding. He said, "You are accepted, Satyakam Jabal, because at the age of 9 you are so truthful. And your mother is also great. Her respect for truth is immense. You don't know your caste, I know your caste. You are a born Brahmin. The highest caste in India. Because of your truth, I can deduce it logically that you must belong to the highest caste. You are accepted this Satyakam became one day enlightened. I have given you the name Dhyan Satyayana. Just another form of Satyakam. Remain truthful to yourself and to the world. And the day of your illumination is not far away.